What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Heaven 17. Back with another Luca, looking very silly, but also very Halloween holiday colored. In any case, we're going to listen to the next tune on Penthouse and Pavement, 1981. And the next track is The Height of the Fighting. That sounds intense. It sounds like a pitched battle, a battle that is at the point from which one side perhaps will emerge as victor, or perhaps the attrition will just continue equally on both sides. But yeah, it sounds like a very intense period of combat. It remains to be seen if that's more literal. If it is, then perhaps, this could be about war or other episodes of large-scale violence. If it's more emotional or interpersonal, then perhaps it could be about a relationship and people who maybe have a volatile connection where they do have moments where they do share an intimacy and some measure of coexistence in a pleasant way, but perhaps they swing to the other end of the spectrum and have a very angry or unpleasant form of interaction. So I feel like it can go some different ways depending on what scale it's on. Ultimately, I'm not quite sure what to make of it. Let's listen. This is Heaven 17. The track is The Height of the Fighting, and it's from the 1981 album Penthouse and Pavement.
Heat. War.
What is it good for?
They sent you to it, do it. Sweat. Law. If you can move it, prove it. At the height of the fighting. Hey, la-hoo. At the height of the fighting. Hey, la-hoo.
That's Hey-La Who? The bass is very funky, but the sound is complex.
Heat. War. If you don't like it, fight it. Sweat.
Hello.
Law. If you can't take it, fake it. Heat.
If you can't take it, fake it.
War. They sent you to it, do it. Sweat.
Audio.
Law. If you can move it, prove it. At the height of the fighting. Hey, la-hoo.
I still don't know what to make of Hey-La Who.
At the height of the fighting. Hey, la-hoo. Heat. War. Sweat. Law. Heat. War. Sweat. Law.
What's the plan, Luca?
Heat.
It's like, I want to eat your armrest, obviously.
War. They sent you to it, do it. Sweat. Law. If you can move it, prove it. At the height of the fighting. Hey, la-hoo. At the height of the fighting. Hey, la-hoo. At the height of the
I do like
fighting. Hey, la-hoo.
The bass line has a bit of that acidy squiggle.
At the height of the fighting.
Not a 303, but a fade. It's another one that has that like early live show kind of feel. It's a really interesting blend of sounds. It's got some funk to it, but definitely also a bit of dissonance, or like at least like intense sort of atmosphere rather than like straight away consonant. And yeah, I don't know. It's like there are parts where it sounds like he's saying war with that big war, but it also sounds like he was saying law. So I don't know, like if there were different iterations of the chorus, and again, it's hard, if one of them was war, it's hard not to think of, and I had to fight myself not to say, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. But in fact, I think I did say, what is it good for? But yeah, like, I'm not sure. Like, it sounds like it could be about actual warfare, but it also sounds like maybe there are multiple levels in play. Either way, an interesting tune. It's another one where, I've said this about a few early OMD tunes, because, I've gone through multiple albums and I'm only just in 81 still, so again, right around the same time. But I've mentioned after a couple reactions to their tracks that are a bit more off the beaten path, where I've joked like, man, it's a cool tune, but it's really eccentric, it's really abstract and like experimental, and I wonder, like, when they go to the label and they're like, here's another track, and the label's like, this is crazy, like, this is not a track that we can like put on the radio and it's gonna, get to top of the pops. It feels like the kind of tune where it's like, wow, there will be a select audience for that, but it's going to be people who aren't, looking for a quick and catchy sort of head-bobbing tune. This one had that feel. I mean, again, it had a funk to it, and when it's got funk, it's, it's danceable. It's something that sort of gives it that flavor, but it really had this bizarre sort of feel to it. So, and again, like, part of that is the vocals, because, not only am I not quite sure what's happening, but they're not like straight away sung vocals, like in prior Human League tracks, and I get it, Oki was the voice, and now he's not in the group anymore, but, what is it, Glenn Gregory? Am I remembering that correctly? I think I have Heaven 17 open in Discogs. Let me, like, correct myself if I'm completely wrong. Yeah, Glenn Gregory. I was right. I'm happy about that. But yeah, like, it felt like some of the vocals were, quirky or a bit eccentric. So it's the kind of track where, again, I feel like, they give this to the label, or the label is supervising its production, and it's sort of like, this is something people will enjoy, but it's not something that perhaps, like, the main music buying audience will perhaps be keen on. So, and again, maybe part of it is just in the early 80s, there was more license to be your own thing and to be experimental and to not sort of like, well, what sort of like lane are we putting you in? Or like, we're going to establish you as this kind of band. So maybe that's part of it too. But either way, a really interesting tune and a bizarre one, but not in a bad way. So let me know if you agree. I will see you next time. Peace.